Good morning and welcome. It's Saturday, the 22nd of October. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. All right, quick headlines coming up today. It's a £30 day, so I've done it a stake and a half. We've been 25 this week, £30 today. First race is the 120 Doncaster, and then there's a big gap. And I've got four bets. And then we'll obviously do the review of yesterday before that. A few kind of house notices, I guess, before we begin. It's been a bit of a funny couple of weeks, to be honest. It's always important just to sort of have a stop, a pause, and a bit of a check-in, because within the betting world there is very prevalent something called recency bias. So basically, that in essence is you kind of remember most what happened most recently. So you remember what happened yesterday, this week, last couple of weeks, and then beyond that, it kind of goes into the distance. And the last couple of weeks following the channel, we haven't had a decent win and we haven't had a decent loss. So it sort of has been bobbing along. We've had a little bit here, a little bit back there, a little bit down there. So nothing really to get cheery about. It was 2 weeks ago today. We hit 3 winners at Chelmsford. And yeah, for the channel, we got back a couple of hundred, and I think a lot of you did a lot more than that because of Bog. And I guess it's important to kind of flag that, because I do get really, really conscious on like a week like this where we've had one day where Sky Bet was a very preferable bookmaker, but it doesn't always work like that. And actually, sometimes Bog is a useful thing. I think today's one of those days where Bog might be a bit more useful, to be honest, because Sky Bet's bet places aren't the most advantageous. So you never quite know which way it's going to be. And so, yeah, I guess just flagging that I'm very conscious. I record my stats, but last night H put on some fantastic stats, and I'm really hoping other people can see it, because the comment was there. I can see it because I get a notification via email when people comment, but it doesn't seem to be visible, and I'm not really quite sure. So if no one can see it, that's annoying. H, feel free to try and repeat the post. It was just really interesting. It's his own personal breakdown, and I'd actively encourage any of you guys to keep your own statistics. Mine statistics are quite easy to keep because I'm actually putting them through a real betting account. So I get all the rule falls. I know where the price changes are. I'm rarely getting Bog for anything I'm doing on the channel. So I know where my stats are at, but equally in the last couple of weeks, I'd forgive anybody for kind of going, well, it doesn't really feel like very much. That being said, if you look at the grand scheme of it, and those of you who've been with me a long time know that we are turning a very, very nice profit, and that's irrespective of which bookmaker you're using, because we have had, well, in total on the channel, 3 lucky 15s with 3 winners and 2 in the last 2 months. And statistically speaking, probably would have had, I don't know, about 1 in every 6 months, statistically speaking, is what you might want to get for something like that. So to have 2 in close proximity has really, really boosted the figures. So yeah, that's that. Reminder, the channel is free, entirely optional, so I put them out. It's up to you what you do with them. Plenty of people charge money for worse tips than these. So you can, I always say I don't think it's worth charging. It's not worth paying for tips. I'll never charge for any tips I put out. I just want to share what I do, and if that helps people, fantastic. That's what I'm aiming to do. And yeah, and we're kind of 10 months in now. November, December, January, just over. We're not quite there. We're not quite at the 10 months actually. So we'll see. And as I said earlier in the week, the Sky Bet account I've got is restricted, and that's caused me a bit of a pain this morning. So I need to get a replacement sorted very quickly. Because I'll get to it, but I've had to kind of. I couldn't put all of the bets on through the channel account, so I've had to start using a 365 account that I had. To put on some of it, and I'll explain. So yeah, that was just it's been a bit of a frustrating morning, generally speaking, with the horses, with non-runners, prices coming in from what they were, and I've had to make a few chops and changes, and as I've gone with my bet slip, so it's just a bit frustrating in the morning, really. All right, anything else I need to tell you? Just not tell you, but just say thank you very much. I appreciate, every comment, every like I get for the channel, everybody who subscribed to the channel. Because when we've had a bit of a lull like this, and it's not even like it's a bad run, it's just a lull. There's been 2 weeks of nothing massive to shout about. And what that means is you generally get less traction. So, less people are commenting, less people are liking. And I completely understand that. But I just want to say that I do really appreciate everybody who does do that, because nobody has to. So I appreciate everybody who does do that. So thank you very much. Right, let's stop waffling on and go through yesterday. So for the channel, I had it 25 on 28.17 back, so it was £3 profit. But if you were 365, you should have done quite all right out of that yesterday. So what did we have? We started off here. And then first leg ran a nice race placed, and then the next two were very, very poor. We were all run at Thunder. I think something went wrong. It never looked like it was going. And then Jimmy the Digger won well, so it was a win and a place. So at least we got something with Jimmy the Digger. So it was a little bit of a profitable bet on that one. We had here Melody of Life placed, Kimmy 5 non-runner, so got refund for the single. Jimmy the Digger won, so we basically got because of the non-runner, it ended up with one of the doubles being a win double, which is all right. Super Citizen was 7th. I think they paid 6th. So, yeah, so we've got a couple bits and bobs on back on that. So bet 2 was also profitable. And then we had Melody of Life Place. Dora Penny, not too far away, but not good enough. Tin Fandango won well. It was a great ride, that. And then Ebony Moore was won out the placings for everyone except 365. So if you put your bet on with 365 before they changed place terms, it paid out. And thank you, Robin, for flagging that to me, because I wouldn't have known, because I didn't back that horse on a bet 365 account yesterday, so I don't know. So for the channel, again, win and a place. If you were on 365, you would have got that as a place treble, and you'd got a nice return off that. So first 3 bets were all right, and then it was the big letdown, this one. So I was having a bit of a punt at these Dundalk ones, but Hackney ran an okay race, but not enough. Star Shield placed, wasn't far away from winning. Ginsburg was won out the placings after being back down, and then those two ran as the odds suggested, I think. There we go. So was not much back on that one. So that's kind of what brought the figures down. It was a 3 odd quid profit for the channel, which leaves us marginally up for the week. So I think basically if you were 365 or Sky, you should be about either slightly up or about even. Everyone else is probably going to be behind, and as I said before, it's never where I want it to be. But the whole point is, what I'm trying to do with this channel is demonstrate for those people who are less experienced or newer, having a 365 account is the standout best account to have because of the extra places. And on some days, like we had one day this week, they're particularly good. Today, it's helpful to have a 365 account, I would say, but it's not necessarily going to make a huge difference. I'll say that out loud and I'll probably jinx it and it will. But right, today's bets. What have we got then? Two lucky 15s, a combination bet of complication, and some Yankee in the evening. So starting off here, this is the one that hasn't got too many scrawls of change on it, which is helpful. So 120 Doncaster Eagle Way 14s. 345 Quizzical 10s, 350 Moon King, that's at Cheltenham, 14-1, and 410 Doncaster Nomadic Empire 12. So it's just a straightforward 20p each way, lucky 15. Sky are best for place terms, but I think because it's changed so much this morning with different bookmakers' odds changing, I think now we're down to Paddy and 365, who were only one worse off on that race, and they are the same on the other 3. So overall, if you were happy to risk the place on that one, getting bog on Paddy and 365 for those 3 is marginally preferable to the extra place on that one, I would say. So the channel bet is placed through a Sky Bet account, but I'd say marginally 365 and Paddy might be better on that. So that is your choice. That's bet 1. Bet 2 has got a lot of bit of scrawlies on, so hopefully this does make sense. So basically, I had a horse in that race. It was my horse of the day, and it was a non-runner after I'd written the bets out, and I was very frustrated, shall we say, without using other words. So I've had to use a super sub in that one. So we've got here the 350 Cheltenham Scandiberg at 40s, 445 Doncaster Al-Bahi 14s, 450 Newbury Das Capital 15 to 2, and then the 455 Leopardstown Knockna Killer 14 to 1. So you can ignore basically all of these scrawly bits, but basically what the bet is now is a 20p each way lucky 15, so standard bet, and the only additional bet is 60p each way single on Scandiberg, which is now my value for the day. A lot of the bookies are paying 5 across the board pretty much. So just make sure you've got a bookie that's paying 5 on Scandiberg. You can get 50s, I think, still on 365. So that's 60p each way single on Scandiberg, bet 2. Right. Then we get into bet 3, which is it's not too different, but it's a little bit more complicated, and I've had to change a few things on there. So this is my combination bet. So in the main bit of the combination bet, so stay with me, there are 8 selections. So that is 3 in the 120 at Doncaster, 2 in the 350 at Cheltenham, and 3 in the 445 at Doncaster. And we're doing trebles on all of those 8 selections. So it's Eagle Way, Cliff Cake, and It Just Takes Time in the 120 Doncaster, the 350 Cheltenham Scandiberg and Moon King, the 445 Doncaster Al-Bahi, Broken Spear, and Libra Tiger. And it's 20p each way trebles. That will be 18 of them. So if you put all of those 8 selections in, you will come up with 18 trebles. It's 20p each way. Hopefully that's clear. And then the doubles element, and I've had to change it about, is now on the bottom 5. So the double 6 times 25p each way doubles is on those 2 races. So it's just the 350 Cheltenham and the 445 Doncaster. I am not doubling up all of it. And the reason for it, you end up sort of just thinning out your stake a bit too much. And I wanted to put the stake on kind of later on in the day. So although the prices are better on that one, I've done it on that one just so that the bet doesn't get written off at the start, basically. Although the value is slightly better in that race, I would say. So if you want to change it about, you change it about. But I've done it like that so that the bet's not written off on the first leg. So it works out now at £10.20 for bet 3. So it's £7.20 for the trebles. That's what that should add up to. And £3 for the double. So £10.20 is bet 3. And then we're going to finish off at Chelmsford with a split stake Yankee. So a couple of things on this one. So I've done Yankees again. I didn't think the prices were worth doing lucky 15, so I'd rather have a little bit more stake on the doubles and trebles and fourfolds on it. So that's one thing. I also haven't done a split stake for a while. So for anyone who's new, this is something I have done quite regularly, just haven't done one for the last few weeks. So all at Chelmsford. So what we've got there is basically 2 15p each way Yankees, and they've both got the same legs 2, 3 and 4, but in leg 1 we've got a different horse. So Yankee number 1 is Goddess of Fire in the 6:30, going on to Twilight Madness in the 7 o'clock, Estrella Star in the 7:30, and Miss Bluebell in the 8:30. And then we've got the second Yankee is Cabinet Maker is leg 1, and then on the same 3 horses, Twilight Madness, Estrella Star and Miss Bluebell. So 2 15p each way Yankees. Sky are best, but Coral and Paddy are 4 places on 3 out of 4 races. So again, it's one of those ones where if you're happy to kind of sacrifice one of the extra places, Coral and Paddy, you'll get Bog, and I think Bog would be useful for this bet. So it is quite a close call on that one. The other thing to flag here is just to add to my annoyance this morning. When I put the first Yankee on, Estrella Star was 15 to 2. When I put the second Yankee on, Estrella Star was 7 to 1 in that split second of in between. So for the channel stats, Yankee 1 or Yankee A has got 15 to 2 on Estrella Star, and Yankee B is on there. These things don't make a huge amount of difference, but it's important to flag when I've got it. Okay, that is that. So that's 660 your bet. Right. Hopefully the actual horse is running as not annoying as the betting market and the non-runners and stuff this morning, because just some mornings it's nice and easy, and others it just does you nutting. And this morning it was doing my nutting. I was so keen to try and get the video out early because all the research was done, and then yeah, stuff just kept chopping and changing around, and yeah, very annoying. So anyway, that is that. I will be back in the morning. It looks an alright day tomorrow. Not sure what's going to convert to. Gut feel says probably more like a normal steak kind of a day. So we'll have a little bit of a look, and then I'll try and sort my Sky Bet account out for next week. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, I should have flagged. That was what I was going to flag on this bet 3. Just so I've said it out loud. So with these bets, it wouldn't let me put the full stake on with my restricted Sky Bet account. So what I've had to do is do 15p on my Sky account and 5 on a Bet365 account I've had waiting, and then on the doubles I've had to do 10p on the doubles. That was all it would let me do, and then I've got 15p doubles on the Bet365 account. So what that means is when it comes to calculating this out, my figures are going to be a bit skewy, because if there's anything that comes in and bogs involved, I'll get it for some part of it, but not all of it, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a level of complication I didn't need to say, but it's there. So I'll figure it out. And if they all get beat, it doesn't really matter, because then there's nothing to calculate. But there we go. All right, thank you very much. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. I'm not in a bad mood, just frustrated at the authors. I'm going to go out in the sunshine today. So, well, if it stays sunshiny. All right, thanks very much. Cheerio. Bye-bye.